was working in this group, this circle was called Kunlun. It was a very alternative kind of practice, and we would do some things that are a little more well known now in the Western hemisphere of the world. Is things like I Ching and Tai Chi. We used to warm up with some practices that are similar to that. And this Kunlun was an energy practice. And the teacher of the class in the room that night, I said to him, I want to go. I want you to help me know where Kenya is and what she's experiencing. So I was under this watchful eye of this room full of very evolved practitioners who were really playing with these kinds of very metaphysical, out there, so to speak, experiences. And anyway, by the way, and on the way to the Kunlun circle, I was driving in Maui and by myself, and I was crying, but I was like, I knew I really needed some love. And I could hear her, and she was saying, "It's okay, Mommy. Have fun tonight. It's okay. You have fun. You have fun tonight. I will meet you there. I will meet you there." So I was in this Kunlun circle, and there were people around me, and they were watching, and my teacher was helping me, and we did a very particular practice, and I was gone. I don't know where I went. I was gone, and then there were just lots of levels and lots of things happening and lots of stuff, which I won't go into entirely here, but I was so blissed out, I can't even begin to tell you, and I met Kenya there. It was so blissful. And then at some period of time, what happened was, what the teacher in the class did was he said, okay, I heard him, I saw the room, I saw the people, they were all watching me, I was not in there, I saw the body, I saw my body. And it was so blissful, so amazing. And anyway, so some period of time went by, but there's no time. It was just seemed so fast. And anyway, it was 2 hours later, but really it was an instant. And so what happened was that I could hear the teacher go, saying things like, where did she go? What happened? Where'd she go? And I was gone at some point. I wasn't even there anymore. And I had some fun with Kenya. That was a whole other experience. And then at some point, what happened was, I heard him say, "It's time," and he counted to 3, and he snapped his fingers, and I was back in the room. And so the miracle of the bliss and the joy that I'm answering here is, I was so blissed out at that moment that another hour easy, well, maybe I'm exaggerating because the class was almost over at that point, but it was at least a half an hour and 45 minutes that I was in the center of the room hysterically laughing. I could not stop laughing because that bliss energy comes in. It's also called the Bliss technique. I was so blissed out. I was just hysterical. I have not laughed that hard in my entire life. And they couldn't stop it. All the people in the room were touching me because they just wanted that energy. And it was like electromagnetic force, right? Because then they're all laughing. And we're all hysterical in the room. So full of joy, laughter. So, and you wouldn't know, like, how could that force be in me? Because for 4 days up until that point before, that when Kenya crossed, I was crying nonstop. So, okay. All right, so let's do some little readings. Or do you guys have questions? Yeah.
Was that your first experience of Kenya's spirit after she left her body?
No.
That's the question I had. When did you first feel it?
The night she left.
Okay, so she was there comforting you.
Well, I wouldn't say she was comforting. Well, yes. I mean, that night she was saying, "I'm okay, Mommy. I'm okay, Mommy. I'm okay." And for sure I knew, because, I mean, if you really knew about everything that happened in Maui, I had such wild experiences, seeing angels. This is not like, oh, I think I see, some light, or, oh, I think no. No. I know what I saw. It was real. It wasn't a hallucination. I was in my full body. It wasn't on drugs. It was real. Yeah.
When people are given signs from their animal who has passed, are they usually something very clear? Can they be very abstract? And then it's not sure to you if it's is a sign from them, or if it's just something else happening from some other being?
Yeah. So thank you for asking that. On the night that Kenya died, I had in my house a purple lily. And that week, I was at the grocery store. And I was like, this is how bad it had gotten in Maui. I had to go to behind the grocery store in the dumpster to get boxes, because once Kenya died, I was out of there. It was too much for me. It was time for me to come home. I had done my healing. I had kind of woken up, gone through my transformation. But anyway, so I'm in the back, like in the garbage dumpsters, picking up empty boxes. And apparently some florist had delivered purple lilies. And I had been asking her, like, show me, are you still with me, you know? So that's one way that it shows up. And, you know, the human mind is just generally to doubt and disbelieve that. But this is just one example. There's a gazillion examples, countless examples of how they can demonstrate that they're around. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, the Herkimer Diamond examples were some just from Jeff. I remember Jeff was a really big Grateful Dead fan. He was just like, you know, such a Rasta kind of guy. He was into that whole scene. And I remember outside of my house, where I was living at that time, right in Mar Vista, was this, it was like a Partridge Family bus. And it had like Rasta, you know, pot sign, you know, marijuana, and it had peace. And the most ironic, and had butterflies, that was a big thing. I would start seeing butterflies everywhere, and I would always feel like, I hear, when the butterfly comes in, I hear his voice in my head. Don't be surprised if I'm just flying around you. But, you know, those are just some examples, but you can literally ask the animals in your life, for example. Did you have something?
Yeah, just an example of, like, so when my dog died about 9 months ago, she was in my life for a long time, you know. When I went to pick her up at the crematorium, I was driving there a couple of days later and looked up, I was with a friend of mine, and I looked up in the sky and her name was spelled out. And it wasn't like her name was Lucky, it wasn't like definitive L like that, but there were letters of her name that I could see in the sky. And that was like amazing to me. And then a couple nights ago I had a dream, the first real dream that I had, that I saw her in the dream. Mm-hmm. And she was lost, and then I found her, and she came to me, and I looked, and she was black and white. You know, I got her with me here all the time, and so I don't know what the dream tells. You know, meeting them, or if that has any kind of communication at all. But.
Yeah, well, it certainly does. It certainly does, because when you're using your brainwave in your dream state is a delta brainwave. So it's a brainwave that actually has intelligence and can connect to another field of consciousness. And our animals will definitely, the animals who have crossed over, they can and will absolutely meet us in our dreams. And if you go to sleep and you ask for them to meet you there, they will. And a great way to help you remember your dreams, by the way, is you can get, what is it? Oh my goodness, it'll come to me.
Dream catcher?
Homeopathic?
Yeah, it's an oil. It'll come to me in a second. Oh my goodness, you can burn it too. No. It'll come to me. That's okay. But you can get that. It'll help you remember your dreams. But you can certainly ask them to meet you in your dreams. What I remember. Mugwort. Thank you. Mugwort. It's great. I put it on as oil on my hands, and we'll put it on my neck right before, or on my chest right before I go to sleep. You will have wild dreams. So make sure you're going to sleep in a good state. Yeah. But you can ask your animal companion to meet you in your dreams, for sure.
Are you more likely to remember if you use Mugwort?
Yes, it helps you remember them.
Where do you get Mugwort?
You can get that at any. You can get that at any Whole Foods pharmacy. Whole Foods. You can get it at the co-op.
Phoenix Pharmacy, maybe.
Yeah, the homeopathic.
Pharmacy.
Yeah.
So Lori, I'm wondering about, we had an animal in our family pass last week, and the feeling was like, you said, it was like a suicide mission. I felt it very strongly. It doesn't diminish the pain of the loss, but yet I feel like the dog had something else to do and is gone.
That's right.
And in this case, I don't feel the lingering or the presence of the dog so much as just, I have something to do, folks, see ya.
Yeah.
It just was like out of the house, got out, was hit by a car within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I knew, oh, that he intended to do that.
That's right. That's right.
But then there's sometimes there is this feeling that, you know, there's memories of the dog, but the dog is not really lingering around. Like I felt he had somewhere else to go. He's on another mission, or in another dimension, helping someone else, or something like that. But,
Well, here's the thing about that. And by the way, when we talk about dimensions, this is scientific fact too. Any physicist right now will tell you, in fact, it's even on Discovery Channel, there's an infinite number of dimensions, parallel dimensions, going on at the same time. All right now. So that means you exist in another dimension. So do you, so do you. And so with all those dimensions going on at the same time, that's what past lives are, by the way. They're not really past lives, they're parallel lives. They're happening right now. But that's what Peach is talking about when she talks about these other dimensions. But with animals, this is one really nice thing to know. With animals who get hit by cars and things like that, a lot of times, because they're not connected to their physical bodies in the same way that we are, we really are very attached to these bodies. Like we decorate them and we put nice clothes on them, and we we're attached to our pain. Oh my God, I've got this pain. It's mine. No, it's not your pain. It could most of the time be someone else's pain, by the way, that you picked up. You don't really know. So, because you're way more psychic than you realize. Like we all are. We all have this gift. And we're just all energies bouncing off. And if you walked into a store where somebody had some real headache and you just all of a sudden that consciousness of that headache grabbed onto you, suddenly you're going to think you have a headache. It might not have even been yours. It's just energy. And energy sticks on everything else. So, okay. So a lot of times, though, what happens with animals who get hit by cars and things is sometimes they'll actually, because they're not as attached to their bodies, they can pop out right before the impact. That they don't even have to feel the pain. Their consciousness. In a lot of cases, that is what happens. Now, with respect to that, you're talking more about contracts and agreements, and that is absolutely true. Because see, what happens is, first of all, animals come here, generally speaking, they are in one of three capacities. They work in one of three capacities, generally speaking. They're either teachers, healers, and there's overlap. Teachers, healers, or they're here to have an experience. And that is absolutely true. Even, most of the time a wild animal is more here to have an experience, but he could be a teacher. Whales and dolphins are teachers. I mean, they're all teachers in some way, shape, and form. So, if the dog in question has fulfilled his contractual agreement, he's ready to go. He's done.
yeah, it was very shocking. He wasn't old. He was just like, you want to go out? Okay. And he never before wandered or did anything strange or unusual, and then within 5 minutes, boom, gone. And he had gone all the way, like the amount of traveling time that he took in. He was a little black teacup chihuahua named Frodo.
Right.
And so this little tiny dog traveled 4 blocks in 5 minutes. And just in my mind, it was like, I just could pick up that he was done with his contract and he needed to move on. But these are the things that, like you said, we think, oh, I'm just telling myself that to make it easier or something,
No, because that's what
the
the
death
human
is so
does.
shocking.